I come up and I wind the clock once a week, and 4 times a year I oil it and I make sure that everything's ship-shape. I change the time also for daylight savings. Recently, this clock, this face, the hands got caught on each other, and so it broke apart in the shaft, and so I had to replace the part, which was just a special screw, and go up in a bucket and like a bucket truck and unhook the hands. So there's some things that I'm able to fix, and there are other things that because it's so much larger than the normal clocks that I fix for customers, I would have to have someone come in and help me out, at least with lifting things and such. There are companies that specialize in making clock parts, and so it's not impossible to source things, and there's also a lot that we can do to make new parts. This is the only tower clock that I do right now, but I also take care of the lobby clock and the mezzanine there, and the grandfather clock in the city manager's office. There are things that translate across, most clocks, but there are definitely differences in basically, every at least type of clock. And so in some ways it's easy, but there is a certain amount of knowing exactly, being able to get a feel for the differences. Yeah. And so it's not so bad. When I wind, the cable goes around this drum and it fills it up, so I know that it's fully wound when the cable is here. That way I don't have to keep turning around and looking at the weight itself over there. That takes about 110 winds in a week. I tend to do about 30 a set. Since it takes 110, I need to break it up, because it is, it's a little bit difficult to wind, as you saw. When I started, I was able to do closer to 40 or 50, but a couple years ago I donated my kidney, and so I just haven't quite gotten back up to that yet, I've always been what I call a fixer. It used to be jewelry and clothing, and I would fix, something got torn, something got broken. It sort of came as a sort of natural progression from that. When I was in high school, I went to high school at Doherty. I was in the engineering program. And when you're a senior, they have you do an internship. So I sang in a choir with a fellow named John Reeves, who was the clock man, and he was the one who used to wind the clock here. And so I did an overhaul for that internship, and it was cool. And he wasn't really looking for any help at that time, so I went to college. I went to Worcester State. I studied art. And after I graduated, he started to get sick. He had cancer, and so he was not as strong as he was, and he wasn't able to feel quite as well. I sort of offered to sort of help him out, and so I became his assistant, and I'd carry his bag on his house calls, and I also took over winding here, because it was a lot for him to come up and wind the clock and climb the stairs, and it's because it's very physical. So I also learned how to fix clocks from him as well. It was really cool to sort of make that connection with John, and then learn so much about clocks. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I get really squeamish. So ever since I learned that I couldn't be a veterinarian, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I started fixing clocks, and I started working on this clock here, and it's the first thing that I've come across that I felt like, yeah, I could do this for the rest of my life. I always sort of enjoyed the aesthetic of clocks and thought they were really interesting and cool, but I would have never imagined that this was a job that anyone could do, never mind one that I could do. And I did engineering in high school and art in college, and I sort of feel like this is a really good melding of the two. Clock repair and clocks as my career it's my primary job, it's my primary form of income. so I count this in my business. So most of what I do is repairing clocks for customers. And you know, that's mantle clocks, wall clocks, grandfather clocks. And so that's what I do basically full time. I also take care of people's pets sometimes. And yeah, I mean, I would love to still be repairing clocks for as long as I can, you know? And what's important to me is that I still love it. So sometimes I have to, you know, I take a little break, I do more pet care, and but mostly, you know, as long as I can keep the passion, I want to keep doing this.